guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, I'm guessing he's about 25, 26 years old, and he's writing in looking for our help. So we're going to have some serious audience participation today because we need to save a young guy. But before I get into his problem and dilemma, and he's in a jam, give a little background here. This guy, he's been in this country, I think 5 or 6 years. He immigrated here from Bangladesh. And he's really made something of himself, which is awesome. Back at home, Bangladesh, he was going through some very hard times. His family, his mom and dad, abandoned him when their business went under, and they owed all this money, and he got stuck left taking care of things. I kid you not, it's crazy. But this guy persevered against amazing odds, found a good trade, some skills, and got himself to come over here. Started a new life, started a business, started making friends, gym, all that. And in the peak of things going great, met a girl. You can all see where this is going. Met a girl, they hit it off, and guess what? She announced just recently she is, wait for it, pregnant. And wants to get married and all that. And the thing is, this guy's obviously in trouble, looking for help because he's been watching this channel for a while. Here's the thing. His girl knows about the channel, and she's worried, wonders what he watches the channel often, even before he found out she was pregnant, and worries that she's doing something wrong. And you know what? She has a good reason to worry because I tend to be very blunt here at the end of this story, as well as I hope all you guys would chime in to help us save a young guy. And I want to point out, guys, that there's a lot of things on the timeline with her and the pregnancy, everything that certainly makes me ask some questions. So, guys, this one is really to help a young guy not make some mistakes that maybe some of you guys have made. So definitely I encourage you to listen and jump in. So he says here, hello SSM. You can call me Roy as my code name here. I'm from Bangladesh, but I currently live in Jacksonville. I've had some personal issues, and after that, my therapist told me to write a brief history of my life. Yeah, this guy's in some therapy now, and he has good reason for it. A lot of guys write in, or at least write their story as it's therapeutic to them. So I encourage all you guys who are going through hard times, write it down. Write it in. Even if you don't send it to me, just write it down. You'll feel better. I recently saw in one of your videos where someone did exactly that, and I thought I would send it to you as well, as I would also require some advice from you. Even though I've been living in the USA for a few years now, English is not my first language, so please excuse my grammar. Dude, your English is better than people that live here, so you did a very good job in this letter. Bit about myself and my background here. Like I mentioned, I was born in Bangladesh. My father had a fish farm, which was very prosperous when I was growing up. But soon after a series of bad decisions, which I learned about later, caused by him, the firm went bankrupt. And at that time, we were drowning in debt. About 10 million taka, Bangladeshi currency, or $100,000 US money. So shit, 100,000 of our dollars is like 10 million of Bangladesh currency. 100K is quite a decent amount of money here in the US, but it was a crushing amount of money back home. My dad not only borrowed money from the bank and relatives, but also from loan sharks as well. Oh, God. Which, needless to say, made the life of my family way worse. So probably when things started getting bad and he got desperate, he borrowed money from anybody he could, including loan sharks. And yeah, they got loan sharks all over the place, guys. It's an old business. He says, my bastard father then left town so he wouldn't be off by the loan sharks or get arrested by the police due to check fraud. And I still don't know where he is. And I don't care, though he tried to contact me later on in life at once. Well, he's a scumbag. Look, he obviously was in deep crap, but you know what? He abandoned you. And you were young, because the dude was like high school at this time. Well, soon afterwards, my mom left as well, with another guy, and got pregnant soon after, and I was alone. What the hell, man? Yeah, I'm not surprised your mom left. Things got desperate. She found a guy to take care of her, got pregnant as like an insurance policy, and she was like, see ya. Well, one day, I guarantee you, they're going to come track you down. Your mom will, and you can say, F you, Mom. Well, I had to drop out of high school at that time and return to the village to live with my paternal uncles, where everybody in the family hated me because of my dad. It says, know that in Bangladesh, especially in the rural village areas, the family structure is different than the West. As in a joint family, if one person is in debt, it is considered the entire family would bear the responsibility. So your dad messed up, and it just became a downward spiral. And he did check fraud and borrowed money from loan sharks out of desperation. I mean, look, okay, he was desperate and made mistakes, but didn't make anything any better. And now they all blame you. How nice. And your family's responsible for his actions. Even though that SOB father of mine was the one who financed their lavish lifestyle up until that point, they were still pushing all the responsibility on me. Yeah, anyway, how's that? And you're a kid. But that's your culture. Maybe in your culture, by the time you're in high school, you're considered a man at that age. I don't know. Anyhow, I started working in the fields in the daytime and from evening to midnight practically. Or, oh, you mean morning to midnight or something like that. I worked for a loan shark at his computer store. Okay, you worked in the fields in the daytime, then from like the evening to midnight, you worked, okay, for a loan shark in his computer store. I was not paid very much money, and what I did earn was taken by the debt collectors. So, well, obviously they knew you're not the one that owned the money, but they made you work. On a lucky day, I was barely getting 4 hours of sleep, and my body was deteriorating very quickly, as the load was not something any young guy like me had ever done, and any physical labor at that point in his life could have adapted to it very easily. But at least I wasn't starving, which still kept me going. But I had to get out of this situation, or I would have to live this life until I died or paid off the debt. He said the latter would have been impossible by doing manual labor. He says, thankfully, I was not completely forsaken by God. At that computer store where I worked, there was a guy who worked there, and he was very interested in freelancing. He says freelancing was starting to become very popular at the time, and had completed a course in web development previously. But due to the fact that he was not very good in English, he was having a hard time landing any clients. Since I used to watch a lot of English content like movies and all, and cartoons when I was a kid, English became my second language early on. You're not the first person to tell me that they learned English by watching a lot of American movies. Just this Saturday, a couple days ago, my housekeeper was here, nice lady, and she cleans my house every 3 to 4 weeks. And we were talking, and she told me that like 30 years ago when she came to this country from Brazil, she learned a lot of her English by watching Baywatch. No joke. So this is funny you're saying this right now. Anyhow, so I talked to the guy and helped him structure his Upwork and FIVERR profiles, whatever the hell that is, some computer stuff. And I helped him write some birds. And he was able to land some clients. In return, he started teaching me web development. Aha, now you're developing a skill. He says, I could write a 100-page essay on what happened after that, but to summarize everything, a couple months later, I was able to land my first client on Upwork. I convinced the loan shark to give me time and showed him my results, and I started earning by freelancing and remote work and began repaying off the debt little by little within 3 years. And within 3 years, I was debt-free. Whoa. 100 grand in like 3 years on top of what you were doing, so I guess you were doing a lot better than just okay. But you're probably just working your tail off. But anyhow, this is great, man. And you've persevered, and you had these horrible things happen to you. I mean, but it was hard. It was horrible what happened, and effed up on so many levels. But it was great that you persevered through all this. Holy crap, man. Well, I was debt free, and I was able to land a full-time job offer at a company, which got me an H-1B visa, and then I was finally able to come to the United States, which was a childhood dream of mine. Dude, you're welcome here. I'm glad you came because you're making something of yourself. Good for you. After 2 years with 3 coworkers of mine, I was able to start my own agency, which had an LLC in the United States. And 1.5 years later, I was able to issue myself an EB-1C visa. Anyhow, that's that. Bravo. Good job, my man. You're on the right path. But we know where this goes. Well, I was always in love with martial arts, but due to work, I did not have the time to do that, nor was I in good shape. I was 5'6" and 94 kilograms, or 207 pounds for you Americans, to practice martial arts. Yeah, 207 pounds and 5'6", you need to drop some pounds, dude, and I know you know this. But after moving to Jacksonville, I finally decided to join a gym where I met a very good friend of mine. Let us call him Daniel. He used to work there as a part-time trainer back then, and he was 6'4", shredded, and a very good-looking guy. That's a big dude. After joining the gym, I was talking about getting personal training, and the receptionist and the dude was there. He pitched himself, and so I gave him the job. He was a great trainer, and we had a lot of things in common, which is very unexpected to me. Well, cool. You made a friend and you got a trainer. Good for you, because you obviously know what you're doing, and he can help you out and lose the weight and get in good shape. Good, man. Notice, guys, one step at a time. He got through that hell back in Bangladesh, got himself a good skill, got himself to come here, got a job, eventually started his own business. This is fantastic. This is the American dream. It can happen. But look at the hell he went through. Anyhow, we became friends, and after losing some weight, he introduced me to the Muay Thai gym that he trained at. I'm in love with the sport, to be honest with you, and have participated in some amateur matches. That's awesome, man. I did Muay Thai for a little over 6 years. I did Muay Thai and Krav Maga. I took 2 arts. 1 hour Muay Thai, 1 hour Krav Maga. I loved it, man. But let me tell you, the Muay Thai classes, I was exhausted. Because punching is tiring. But kicking, roundhouse kicks and all, that will wear you the hell out. But I was in fantastic shape. Now, one thing to mention about Daniel is that during his personal trainer days, almost all of his clients were women, and a significant portion of them were married. Yes, that's how it works, because generally men don't want to hire trainers because men don't want to spend the money. Women hire trainers. 80% of my clients when I was a trainer were always women. I like to say Daniel was a virtuous man who would never think about having an affair with a married woman. But no, that SOB is a textbook example of a Chad and would plow anything that has a pretty face and a vagina. He was probably sleeping with most of them, if not all, and the ones he wasn't, it was probably because he was not attracted to them. Yeah, smack the Daniel. I probably have to stand on a stool to smack Daniel because he's 6'4", but yeah, he deserves it. Yeah, personal trainers have a bad reputation. No, I never slept with any of my clients because business comes first. I know some of you motherfuckers were thinking that. This behavior got him kicked out of the gym and he almost got off by somebody, but that's a whole other story. Well, he deserved it. His parents are very conservative people, but they're not very judgmental about his actions, though. Well, they should have been judgmental, because look where it landed him. Anyhow, previously, whenever I hung out with Daniel, he used to introduce me to women who were pretty much every time we went out. But I always politely rejected them. Daniel thought I only liked women from my own country, so he even started introducing me to some, but that was not the case. I don't have racial preferences. It's just more so because sex to me is different than it would be to people from the West. In my culture, sex and sexual interactions are something as we Bangladeshis are changing a lot. It's not casual. And somebody who grew up in this culture, my preference is always formed around it. So unless my package takes over my brain, SEX won't be something I'd casually partake in, not because I'm a very traditional person, but because I have my preferences and I don't see any reason to change them. Okay. But again, I know how this story goes. That's good you're using this head to do your thinking, not this one. And by using this head for so long, look where I got you in such a short period of time. But all it takes is one pretty girl to come your way, give you that smile, those nice boobs, and something about her does it for you, and next thing you know, this one takes over. As for something serious, I didn't really find anybody worth my time. I didn't really think about it. I could not date anybody from the West. After some conversation with Daniel, he stopped. Then the COVID lockdown happened. He says, due to the fact that most of my team operated remotely, my organization was not affected at all. In fact, with God's blessing, business was greater than ever. And anyhow, Daniel stopped after that. Now, in early 2022, Daniel with some of his friends, 2 of his brothers, and his sister were planning to go hiking, and I was invited to tag along. Hiking was something that was very new to me, and back then, but after some persistence from Daniel, I agreed to go. But after getting there, I regretted going. There were 9 people, including me, and everyone other than me was a chatterbox, and the kind of people you would think were popular in college. I really felt out of place there as I'm an introvert. Yeah, I'm not big on big mouth people and chatterboxes, even though I'm a chatterbox in this channel, but it's not like I can just sit here, guys, and be quiet for fucking 40 minutes and do YouTube. So I have to talk here, but I'm not a chatterbox, naturally. Anyhow, as this was my first time hiking and camping and all, they were very helpful, especially Daniel's sister. Enter the sister. Let's call her Maria. She gave me some brief information about the camping and hiking and all that, and like basic navigation and trail etiquette. Every member of Daniel's family is quite good looking, and maybe I'm biased, but Maria is one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen, and I've lived in Miami before. I want to point out that Daniel and Maria, they are Latinos. And yes, there's some darn good Latina women here in South Florida. Just a few of them, you know. Fuck, they're everywhere. Why do you think I live here? When we started talking, I found out she was majoring in astronomy. What the hell is she going to do with that? Unless she's going to become an astronomy teacher. And as the nerd for the cosmos that I am, I really wanted to have a conversation with her. So we spent the next hours talking about things like pulsars, the observable universe versus the entire universe, constellations, and all that. Well, she was doing most of the talking, as my understanding of those things was very superficial, but I was very interested. Well, good. Let her do the talking. It's always better that the girl's doing all the talking because, frankly, they want to fucking talk. And when they're doing all the talking, you're not talking, and they're wondering about you. You should always have it that the girls are doing more of the talking, guys. Notice that the guys are always yap all the fucking time around girls. They're either gay or they're guys that don't get the girls. When we were going home, to my surprise, she asked me for my phone number. Which caught me off guard, to say the least. It even caught Daniel and the others by surprise, as they were in awkward silence as she asked me out. So, you got this smoking hot chick that naturally you think is the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, and she's asking you out. Probably because when you were around her, you were being yourself and didn't give a shit. Against the wishes of my little brother down south, who was screaming at me to take the shot, I rejected her. The first reason was, again, my preferences. Second, she's my friend's sister. That's a good reason. I'm not for date. I know some parts of the world, it's common to date your buddy's sister and everything like that, but to me personally, I don't think it's a good idea. And finally, before hiking, Daniel told me that she had just gotten out of a relationship and needed to clear her mind, so they made the plan for hiking. That's a very good reason not to start dating her, because guess what? You don't want to be the rebound guy that she can get over somebody else with, you know? Anyhow, she did not say anything after that, and we had a somewhat awkward ride home. She was probably like, what the fuck? Because she knows, obviously, she's young, in her prime. She's a hottie, because you said so yourself. And like, this guy rejected me? Like, what the fuck? Therefore, she now has to obsess over you. I thought that was it with her, but after I started hanging out with Daniel and our mutual friends later, Maria started to pop up all the time. And she wasn't hiding the fact that she was interested. There you go. Because, obviously, when you're around her, you made an impression, but you weren't trying to impress her. That's the thing. Because she's probably used to guys constantly trying to get her attention and kiss her ass and all that and ask her out. You didn't do anything. You just babbled on about fucking constellations when you're hiking up a fucking hill or something. Even though I got a massive ego boost from this, I was left dumbfounded. I even got some strange impressions from mutual friends. I'd never been in a relationship before, much less been pursued by someone like her. Don't put her on the pedestal, man. At the end of the day, there's plenty of hot women around here other than Maria. And there's plenty of Marias in Florida. Was she doing it because of a bet? Was this some sort of social experiment? I was questioning the whole thing as it felt like a geek's wet dream and seemed more unrealistic than the plot of these shitty Hallmark movies. Well, I'm glad you're smart enough to question that, because remember, guys, if you're not exactly rolling with the ladies when you're young, and all of a sudden you get to your mid-20s like our man here, and you're doing well for yourself, this guy owns a business, and they do web development, all that, and obviously he does well enough, and I'm sure his boy Daniel was talking about him. You know, even if you're a good guy and likable to a young girl, this is an opportunity. I'm not saying she didn't like you for you, but there are other factors here that you have to pay attention to. I'm not putting her on some kind of pedestal here, a little bit, but there should be some sort of attraction factor for her to do that, right? But I don't see one here. Yes, if this was for the money, I'd understand, though. This may sound like bragging, but I make a comfortable living. But it doesn't seem to be the case, as I don't discuss my income with anybody, nor do I live a lavish lifestyle. And most importantly, Daniel and Maria are trust fund brats and come from what you call old money. Okay, so they still come from old money and they're trust fund brats, but still, that's probably why she's majoring in astronomy. She's majoring in astronomy because she's hot. And you know what? She's got a trust fund sitting around for her one day. And she's like, well, I'll marry a guy that makes good money and I can major in astronomy. And nothing against astronomy to anybody out there that majors in astronomy. But you all know darn well you can't major in astronomy unless you're going to become a teacher of astronomy or something else. You got to major in something sensible, guys, if you're going to spend the fucking money for it. But anyhow, I'm glad you don't go around flaunting your wealth. It sounds to me you're not rich, but you do well, which, given the fact you work for yourself, is a pretty darn good thing. You call the shots. You may be very wealthy one day. You play your cards right, but not if you get married and have kids too young. But I'll come back to that. Looks wise, I'm 5'6" and currently 70 kilograms. Okay, I don't know what the hell that is in pounds, but probably like 150, I guess. And I have an average face in my country and below average face here, as my background is not something really that other people find attractive. So that's where everything felt rather weird. Well, dude, don't be too hard on yourself, okay? You lost a lot of that weight, which is awesome. And just because you may not think you're not so good looking, there are people that would find you good looking. You just never know. Marie and I started talking more, and I noticed she knew a lot about me and about my past. I talked to Daniel, and that motherfucker is talking to his sister about me. I'm not that sensitive about those things, so I let it go, but I warned him. Well, I'm willing to bet you probably Maria was bugging the shit out of him to know everything she could about you. And that's a good sign. I truly don't know whether it's me rejecting her when she asked for my phone number or sympathy towards my past situation that made her curious about me. But one thing I knew was I was generally enjoying her company, so I gave in. Well, that's what women do. When they really like a guy, they just pursue and pursue and pursue. And that's exactly what she did. So I see nothing wrong with that thus far, particularly if she has money, comes from money. But still, you always got to be careful. I think just the fact that you weren't chasing after like every other fucking guy does, that probably just, what? He's not chasing after me? Therefore, she has to fucking chase after you. You're indifferent. That's good. But you gave in. But the thing is, you enjoyed her company. You're attracted to her. But what comes next was not a good idea. Well, we started dating, and I was clear that even though we are not exclusive, I'm not okay with her dating anybody else. And she was happy with that. But we did become exclusive a few months later. And honestly, this has been a great experience. Great. And I like the fact from the get-go you laid down some boundaries. Again, she's probably not used to guys laying down boundaries. She's probably the one that gives boundaries because her big-ass Latina titties and those big-ass Latina booty that mesmerizes guys to do whatever the fuck they want. It says here, she's a great cook, makes my house not look like a war zone, has values that I like, and is very affectionate both in the bedroom and outside. Oh, I'm sure she is. I met her parents and her other 6 brothers, a half-Latina family. Okay, half-Latina. Other than Daniel. And they all are overly very accepting of me. Dude, did you say she has 7 brothers? A Latina or half-Latina? Let's just call her a Latina chick with 7 brothers. In case you haven't figured it out, haven't noticed yet, good brothers are protective of their sisters. But Latina brothers are very protective of their sisters. Though when we first met, they were polite, but they had the look that said she could do better. Beside that, it's not easy to date a girl with 7 brothers and an ex-military father. Oh God, ex-military father? Oh joy. I want to know, is she the only girl? But then again, 7 brothers and her 8 children. But again, you said Latina background. Fuck, my gardener, who's awesome, he has 5 kids. I gave him a big bonus Christmas time because he does an awesome job. And he's like, thank you. Thank you. It's like, no problem, man. But he puts those kids to work, which is cool. Recently, as I found out that I'm not a fan of condoms, I did something really stupid. Here we go. It says here, not really. I know what was going to happen. So did she. I did not mind a child, nor did she. So we left it to the Holy Father to decide things. And last week we found out that she's pregnant. Oh, for God's sakes. Smack! Bro, you are doing so good. Oh, man. I mean, I'm still proud of you. But, yeah, condoms don't make it feel as good. It's not as an enjoyable experience. But look what you got. Now she's pregnant. But we'll come back to that. I'm kind of over the moon. Oh yeah, I didn't smack you for not wearing a condom. Maybe I did, I can't remember. It's been a long day. I'm kind of over the moon. She's been hinting at a proposal for months now, but since last week, she's been especially saying that she wants to get married. Yeah. Was she dropping hints about getting married before she announced she got pregnant or after she got pregnant? This is something important to me about the timeline here. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't want to rush things, and I also have a business to protect. You're damn right about that, dude. I've asked her to move in with me first and want to see how compatible we are living together under the same roof. A pregnant Latina girl under the same, how compatible you are? Have fun. And by the way, anybody wants to label me racist or anything like that, I'm not being racist, because there's going to be some motherfucker that's going to find this. SSM, you're getting a little about the Latinas. I got no problem with Latinas. I'm just saying what we all know. I live here. What do you think I see all the time? I have friends. SSM, do you think my actions were appropriate for this situation? I'll come back to that. Now, well, due to my experiences when I was a teenager, I've developed some issues as I'm emotionally detached, apathetic, and lack much empathy towards others. The last one has impacted my business to a degree. Even though I've learned to be empathetic, it's all pretense, and I don't really truly feel anything towards anyone. After your childhood, I would be pretty, that way towards people too, dude. That's probably what also drew her to you, because you're indifferent. You were a challenge. Maria knows about this and has been encouraging me, nagging me to go to a therapist for a while, and I had an appointment this morning. The therapist told me to write down everything. I did, and as I recently saw a video on your channel where some guy was instructed to do the exact same thing, and he sent it to you, I thought, why not? Well, I'm glad you wrote it in. All you guys that maybe you're in therapy, send me your stories. Anyhow, I'll be sending this email using a burner email address, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, your privacy is safe with me. If this isn't good enough to make it to a video, I still want to write it out. He says, finally, now listen to this. Though mainly for entertainment purposes, I've been watching your videos for a while now. You've been watching my videos for a while and you haven't been using condoms. You all know darn well you should be using condoms, but what's done is done. Though my girlfriend regularly asks if she's doing something wrong or not, everything she sees is me watching a video, though. Keep up the good work and keep up the good, brother. Regards, Roy. In other words, she's been seeing you watch me for a while, and it makes you a little nervous. Like, am I doing something wrong that you're watching this asshole who talks about these stories? Well, she has reason to be a little worried, because I'm going to be blunt here. Bro, you've done remarkable at what you went through back in Bangladesh. I'm so sorry it happened, but that shows strength like you wouldn't believe. And you found a skill, a trade. You're good at it. You got the hell out of there. You came over here, worked for a while, learned how to do things, start a business. I mean, that's the American dream. Good for you. I wish people born here would make something of themselves like that. A lot of lazy motherfuckers that are born here don't do shit with themselves. But that's putting that aside. And then the gym and losing the weight and making friends and Muay Thai and all that. And then you meet Maria. And I ain't got no problem with you dating Maria. What I have a problem is you're not wearing condoms, and now you are in your mid-20s, and you got a business to protect and all this, and now she's pregnant. I get that you have a great time with her, and probably you'd be with her anyway, but now she's pregnant. I don't want you to rush into getting married if you don't want to get married. If you do want to get married, okay. But here's the thing, dude. Number one, you must make sure this kid is yours. And I know that's the last thing you want to do, because the second you insist on a paternity test, you're going to get Hurricane Maria. You're going to get the Latina hellfire. You're going to get yelled at in Spanish so fast you don't know what the hell she's saying. And you know I'm right. Not to mention the fact that, 7 protective Latina brothers for the probably one and only sister versus the loan sharks in Bangladesh. I would have taken my chances with the fucking loan sharks in Bangladesh than 7 brothers for their little sister, and you saying, I want a paternity test. Ho, ho, ho. But anyhow, you have to do what you got to do, because you got to make sure the kid's yours. I know you want to believe that Maria would never, ever, 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 ever do such a thing. But bro, too many guys have been in this situation. How you handle that, that's on you. And if indeed it is your kid, you do marry her, here's another thing. You got a business to protect. You need a prenup. And again, you're going to get Hurricane Maria on this one and the Latina hellfire. If you have partners I don't know if you're the sole owner of this business or you have business partners, but they're going to have a say in this because think about it. You marry Maria, things don't work out, and she now gets a piece of your business. Now your partners have to deal with her. So you need to get an ironclad prenup, a prenup where you have a prenup, she has a prenup. It's done way in advance before you even get married. I did a whole video that a lawyer sent about the way to get prenups. Look that up. I bet he's watching right now and he's probably like, watch that video. Do everything you can so there's no confusion about the prenups to protect your business and your assets. You got to do what you got to do because statistically half the marriages here end in divorce. This is on the basis if you get married. But here's the thing. Ask yourself, if she wasn't pregnant now, would you get married to her? If you watch my channel for a while, you ought to know darn well what that can happen. But I also have to wonder, because I know you said I think you said over the moon that she's pregnant and you can be a father, which, hey, if that's what you want, great, but still protect yourself. A lot of people that had bad childhoods, bad family situations, all that, they tend to rush things at an earlier age because they want to make up for what they didn't have when they were young. And since what happened to you, which was not your fault, and I'm sorry it happened, is it possible on some level, you're over the moon by having a kid and starting over fresh, Something to really think about. Maybe discuss with your therapist. I just want you to make the right choice. So, bro, I would absolutely, this is me, not that I get myself in this situation, really think things over, and I would say what you got to say in the way you have to say it to get not only the prenup if you marry, but paternity test. You got to know. You got to protect yourself. Nowadays, it's just, and it ain't going to be pretty. I'm telling you now, be prepared for it. So guys, take a moment and give our young bro here some advice in the comment section, particularly you fathers out there that may have been in his shoes one day. Or some of you guys that maybe found that your kid wasn't yours. Please chime away. This is a young guy. We're here to help each other out. And please just do what you can, say what you can. Take a minute, your time to type away. He'll read it and we can help him out. So, bro, good luck to you. You've been doing great. Don't derail things now. But if you do, if it turns out that it is your kid and she agrees to the prenup and she has her prenup too with her own lawyer and all that, everybody's happy, then I wish you good luck with your marriage. Take the things you've learned from this channel, use it, and I hope you have a good family and a good marriage. But, bro, do what you got to do first. It ain't going to be easy. Nobody's expecting that, but do what you got to do. And don't let the fact that she's got 7 brothers or protecting her little sister intimidate you. You're tough. You are way tougher than them, I guarantee you, after what you've been through and come over here to the States and start a new life here. Trust me, you got it in you. I believe in you. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Please let this guy know what you think. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.